The information form.
It is now 4:37. We'll call to order. And, I'll do a roll call. Chairperson Iris Ramos here. Vice Chairperson Jacob McElroy.
Here.
Board Member Terry Bernie Bissett. Board Member Nancy Coddington.
Present.
Board Member Cheryl Mills. Here. Okay, so so we've established a quorum. And we can move on. There is a public comment that we will address in just a little while after the reports. Welcome, Chair.
Thank you.
So first item is a consent agenda of the approval of regular tree board meeting minutes from January 8th, 2024.
Yeah, motion is that.
They're reading it first. Are you making it home?
Nancy doesn't have access to it. What am I doing?
Reading, approving minutes.
Oh, okay.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Everybody ready to vote on it?
No, you need a second.
No. Well, I'm holding off because Nancy's not ready. Susan. Are you not ready?
I just have an objection to it.
Okay.
Okay.
What is your objection?
Well, in the first place, we just had a, Arbor Day event, 5 months ago.
So I think in this step, what we're approving is that it was written accurately.
Oh, okay, so we're not,
No, we're not discussing the items right now, but it will come up.
well, it says take possible action, that's why.
But that's the minute, that was from last month.
Well, that was it. Yeah, those are the minutes from the last meeting.
Yeah.
So that was,
So you're voting to accept the minutes, that they were recorded correctly in the
Okay.
meeting. And then if there is a spring Arbor Day item on here,
Yeah.
I believe there is, that's the point.
Okay. Okay. Okay, yes,
Second.
I'll second.
Do we need a second to the motion? Jacob made the motion.
Nancy, second.
You're in a second.
okay, so then we vote on it. Right?
Chairperson Iris Ramos.
I wasn't here, so I can approve them. I mean,
You can choose to abstain as well.
I can choose to abstain.
Just write an A on it.
Vice Chairperson Jacob McElroy.
Yes.
Board Member Nancy Coddington.
Yeah.
Board Member Cheryl Mills.
Okay, so the motion has passed, the minutes have been approved. So we will move on to reports from officers and council liaison. So, oh, it's my report. All right, we have in your packet, there's a list of terms, people who have come in, and any changes. So, Jake Buckner has not shown up. And so, the current tree board members are me, Jacob McElroy, Terry Bernie Bissett, Nancy Coddington, Cheryl Mills as a full member. And absent is Jake Buckner, and then we have a vacant position. Just want to report that. And the terms for me will be December 31st. 2025. Woohoo! I think you make a notation when you don't make it.
No.
I'll just stay if you want to say.
Terry, Green visit is present here at 4:41. Welcome. We're going over the terms. So I was appointed January 10th of this year. Term expired December 31st. I think that's 2 years.
Mhm.
Jacob McElroy had the same term, January 10th through December 31st, 2025. Terry Burney Visit as a full member was appointed by Congresswoman Bailey. She was appointed 12/14/22, and her term expires December 31st, 2024. Nancy Coddington is a full member appointed by Bob Hambrick, and her term started January 25th, 23, and her term ends December 31st, 2024.
Those dates when they start are the dates that they were brought up before council was on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. By council member.
Cheryl Mills is a full member, was appointed by Congressman Grumert, January 10th, 2024, expiring December 31st, 2025. And we have at this time 2 vacant alternate member seats. Just thought you'd like to see it in writing.
And they'll be referencing those when they do items 5 and 6.
Thank you. All right, we had a meeting with Jeff Ayler,
Yes, ma'am, Ava.
and who is a superintendent, super something, superintendent at the Double J Ranch Golf Course, right?
Yeah.
He will be
At
giving,
this point.
he'll be giving us some comments a little bit later in the first item, number 4. And we, in terms of research for city arborist, I wanted you to see that there's a letter in the packet that I composed, and the mayor approved it. We sent it to Carl Floppy, asking him to do a map of the hot zones in town, to do possibly initiate a tree care management plan, and to do a risk assessment with recommendations for treatments. It's in this letter. It was just mailed Friday. And this was an item that was presented last fall. So I just wanted you to see how we did it. And the other thing I'd like to say is that I had been referred to Helen Rockenbach of the San Leona community. She's an alderwoman there, and her community in San Leona hired a certified arborist whose name is Care Dowery. And he is working for them on retainer. And the mayor suggested I could talk to him about the possibility of having an interview with us. So no offers have been made. There have been no interviews. We haven't discussed any of the duties. I did send him the RFP, thanks to Suzanne and Kathy.
Mhm.
And I just wanted you to know that that was also happening on the side. Okay, so no discussion, right?
No discussion.
That was your report.
So report from tree board liaison.
All right, so at the most recent city council meeting, for the 3A, the tree board request to council for $1,000 to purchase and plant a desert willow tree at Augusta Park. That was unanimously approved, so we can move forward with that. The only request really was to just make sure we coordinate with Parks, about the exact location of where we want to plant the tree. There's also that Boy Scout project going on at Augusta Park, so we just want to make sure everything flows nicely together and we're not, planning to plant the tree exactly where he's planning on doing the Boy Scout project. So, everyone's excited about that one.
Can I say anything?
Let her finish and then.
And then for the tree board request to council of the city to provide $1,500 for the tree damaged at 50 Brook Meadow by Alpha Paving. Unfortunately, that request did not pass, as at city council, so we will not be able to move forward with that $1,500.
She can always clarify something in her report. if you're trying.
Okay. So regarding the tree for Augusta Park, the new parks person, director, chair is, Ruth Ann Gilbert. Our beloved Pat Rawlings retired last.
But, I'm sorry, that's not a question is it a question on her report or are you just giving an update?
Just giving an update that we are now referencing Ruth Ann Gilbert. And I have been able to speak with her, and I've asked her for information about where and when and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
So hopefully we'll get a report. She's having a master naturalist named Becky Denton decide where to place it. So nothing, we're not giving any money until we get the details. And, is there any clarification that you can give us about the denial of that request for the damaged tree?
It pretty much came down to, since Alpha Paving, since they were only gonna pay for it if the homeowner wanted it replaced, and since the homeowner did not want it replaced, then the other people on city council did not feel that taking 15, because we have to find a line item in our budget to take that $1,500 from, and the only place where we could even think to take that from was from our, green space maintenance budget, so, and that would be a significant portion of the green space maintenance, so, they didn't want to have to take out of that budget to replant this tree somewhere else within the city.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to number discussion. Anybody have any more questions or need for
There's no
clarification?
discussion.
Number 4, discuss and take possible action on a variance request from the Double J Ranch Golf Club for the removal of 2 heritage oak trees located at 1 Pearl Lane. So to begin with, well, I've already introduced Jeff Ayler, and you wanted to make some comments.
Not necessarily, comments, I'm more here for any questions you all have, or, way to move forward with trying to figure out how to mitigate this variance and let us, possibly, move forward with all this, so. I definitely want to be present, give you all a face to put to it. I know Joe, the owner, he's out of town, and he was going to be here on Zoom. Unfortunately, he had a fairly big board meeting tonight, for his other country club in Arizona, and just asked for me to handle it. I said, oh, great. I'll get teamed up here. At least I have one more with him, but, just any questions you all have, any concerns or a way that we can possibly, all work together to get this resolved would be fantastic.
So, my understanding,
Has anybody read the variance, the second application?
Do they have the updated copies?
Yes, it's on page 8 of your packet.
so my understanding for clarification is that, I think we can ask questions. I don't believe you can. Is that right? Because of discussion, this isn't a discussion, is it?
Between you guys,
It's a
and if you have
discussion
questions on the
between the board.
application, you can ask,
So,
but they need to read the application first.
does that make sense to you? So, so please take the time to read it. There is an essay at the back of it. Yeah. I'm gonna miss you, but yes. It's not gonna be too long. What I would like to do is, because this particular item is gonna require a lot of discussion and possibly suggestions. I would like to limit how much time we spend on it today, and possibly schedule a special meeting that we can discuss it fully.
If y'all follow Robert's rules of order, you can each talk about, talks 10 minutes.
10 minutes,
Do you want me to get the timer out?
please.
Gotta keep reading.
You need a copy of this? I should be right here.
Presenter, you're the one who asked the motion. So you technically would talk twice for 10 minutes. You can pick your up 10 minutes. The next person, they are using their 10 minutes, and somebody else has a question. The second person can't interrupt the other person's 10 minutes unless you grant them that time, but then you have to start the next vote.
And we have a volunteer to take time to be the timer. Do you mind? That'd be great. And I've watched it in the House of Representatives when they pass time, but I don't, I've been traumatized doing it.
You know, it's kind of, do that again, and it'll start it.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can begin it once everybody's had a chance to read all the documentation. You know, if you want to explain history, whatever, you have 10 minutes, let everybody take their turn and talk for 10 minutes. And then if they don't want to, then they don't have to, and then you'll be the last 10 minutes.
I'm the last 10 minutes, and there are no minutes. Is that clear? We have 10 minutes to talk after we've read it. And then we can pass our minutes over, I believe. And then the timer stops and the other person's time begins. Thank you.
And that's where the words to say that.
Thank you.
We'll go right and ask Suzanne a question we'll ask when you guys.
You like to borrow the gavel, Jake?
Is everybody ready? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm beginning to feel patronized.
Well, excuse me.
So is everybody ready to proceed? Okay, who would like to go first?
Can we have a formal motion and second you don't have any?
A motion to proceed or to begin? Okay, so is there a motion? Thank you. Is there a motion? I'd like to file a motion to proceed and begin a discussion on this particular topic.
I'll second that.
And I don't believe we need to, we haven't had any discussion yet, so I don't believe we need to have a motion for this, Krista. I think we only do that if we're going to make a motion. I think we're just gonna have discussion right now. I may have it wrong, but I think we have to talk before we can come up with a motion. And then we vote or make a motion.
Okay.
Okay, so, we're gonna open this up for discussion. And who would like to go first? I won't look at you. I have a question.
This was I just brought this from one of our last.
Yeah, but there was a, design, the building. Yeah. Oh. Anyway,
These are just the.
very sorry, yeah. Mhm.
Well, so let's see, on Wednesday, the 17th, Iris and I talked to Jeff and Joe via Zoom. And they have an updated variance, explaining their hardships. I believe y'all have read the document now. Do y'all have any questions about they're,
I think this is your discussion, Jacob.
well, I mean, I'm moving forward with, the discussion and asking some questions to the board.
So I think you have 10 minutes to talk. And do you want to pass your 10 minutes?
Yeah, I'll pass it.
Gil, the only thing I have is I'd like to ask you if, say, in the discussion about cutting down those 2 heritage trees, what size tree would you have to plant to even get close to something that would be a big tree in 5 years?
Well, I mean, so you can purchase large trees, I mean, several hundred gallons. But the procedure to
Get them in the ground?
get them in the ground, it's expensive, and what, the way you would calculate how big a tree is and how many trees, it would take to replace those two. It's called the trunk formula, so you take the diameter in inches, total diameter in inches, and you replace, canopy with similar diameter inches. So if they're 24-inch diameter trees, you need at least 24 inches of trees worth 1 inch, 1 inch diameter, 5-inch diameter. It has to add up to 24 inches,
I see.
and then that's per tree. And then you add the cost of planting on top of that. So it can get pretty expensive pretty fast. Especially, I mean, we wouldn't want to put a bunch of 1-inch caliper trees in the ground. We would want larger trees, 5 inches caliper and larger. And the larger the tree, the more expensive it is to put into the ground. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you. The only other thing I want to say is that it's real obvious looking at their plan, that, rendering that we have of the proposed building. They didn't consider the site in making the plan. It was assuming that, trees.
They did. I mean, I think they were a little premature in dismantling their building and assuming that they could clear the trees without consulting the tree ordinance. So, yeah, I think that's a little premature on their part.
So I'm confused about how we're supposed to be doing this. I mean, we're supposed to have 10 minutes, but is it discussion between us? Or are we passing and you're keeping the
I'm sorry.
time? No,
I'm
it's
done.
not.
No, that's all. Those are the only 2 things I had questions.
Well, I just don't understand.
So we can't answer your questions, it'd just be 10 minutes worth of statements. This is a discussion, so we're gonna talk about.
I understand that. I have a problem with it too.
I mean, if you want 10 minutes uninterrupted, you're entitled to that, but if you would rather show the discussion where it's more of just a back and forth discussion, then I think personally, I think that would be the better way to go about things, so that way. But if somebody at the end of it wants their dedicated time, where they can make a statement about kind of summarizing their feelings on everything at the end, then we could do the 10 minutes slots at the end, if that'd be better.
So I'm gonna suggest, if it's okay with everybody, that we each take our time, but if we want to discuss it amongst ourselves during your time, that would be fine, and then we can just ask for dedicated time. Is that? Okay. So Terry, do you
Well-
want to pass your time? Do you want to talk some more?
No, I will just say that, it's my feeling that the trees need to stay. That's our ordinance and that's how I feel about it.
Okay. So what if we just measure how many people there are in this room and times 10 and just say that we're going to discuss this over for that many minutes? Would that be okay? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's an hour. We could do less than an hour, but let's see how we do with this. Okay? Because I think this is a little bit cumbersome to have it this way.
Unless it's a rural.
It's Robert's rules, but Robert's not here.
Oh, okay.
This is Bush.
But maybe Robert, AKA Suzanne, might be listening.
Let's just continue this, okay? So who would like to speak next? Jacob, do you want to come in and say something?
Well, we all read this document about their updated variants. In my personal opinion, the hardships that they're declaring that they have, aren't significant enough to consider removing those trees, are not. So, let's see, what was it, paragraph 3 at the very end. It says it would be also necessity to relocate. Hold on.
Practices.
Practice areas of existing cart paths, tee boxes, and possibly a existing golf course, thus creating a sizable financial burden, and the loss of revenue. This alone could jeopardize the viability of the entire project. I think that's an exaggerated claim. And the only thing that is a hardship, it would be a financial hardship. And that alone is not enough to give variance to remove sizable trees, in my opinion.
So,
I'm curious, I think I would agree that it was premature to just come in and make plans without knowing ordinances and can't miss the trees, so they know they're there, but making the plans without knowing what they can and can't do on that property, in regards to the trees, but I'm wondering, some of these are pretty close to that street. I know the back one, that is closer to the cart barn is, I'm not sure how close that would be to the size of their rendering, but is it the foundation of this building that is making it not possible to keep that tree that is in front, the heritage tree that is closest to the entrance,
is there a bigger?
or the road?
Oh, obviously.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because these, I don't know if anybody still has this, is the rendering that we shared, we got in December, but the other two trees are gone already.
Which one do you have?
This was given to us back in December,
Oh, you
So-
don't have a picture of the actual rendering of the
so we
building?
have
Yes,
this.
okay.
So there is some green space in the front of that. Obviously, I don't know how far back the building is and if it is just not an option to keep. The other two are gone already, so it's just not an option and it's because of the foundation of the building, or is it too close to the roof?
The approach, also the trees, oh, I don't know if I can speak, I'm sorry.
If there's a question, we
Okay.
have a question for him.
Okay. The height of the tree
Hmm.
at that, especially the front one, you know, dictates the elevation of this building significantly. And that is a huge high spot, right? So, you know, in order, obviously, we have a pretty big canopies on these things that we can't get too close to them or the trees are gonna die. With the amount of construction that we're gonna do around these types of trees, around those trees. So, you know, I mean, all of that has to do with it, right? I think the idea and purpose of our letter to you all and asking for the variance and all of that stuff is there's so many different options and there are so many different things. Was this layout designed with the parking lot, with the elevations in mind and all of that stuff. Yes, we did have come to learn that there is a, you know, we need to get a variance for these trees. And, having said that, trying to position the clubhouse or our plans of this venue, you know, we're looking to have weddings out the back porch, getting down to the creek and the pond areas and all sorts of stuff, and photos. And I don't know if you've seen the entire layout and design of our structure, but, you know, it's a clubhouse. We have bars, we have full kitchen, you know, full, you know, set up with the bride and groom's rooms, all sorts of stuff. And, you know, we are definitely looking to landscape and add some definitely trees around, because of the fact that we can't just take these down and not have anything. It'll just look like major. So that's our intent of it. I think a key point is definitely the elevation of that front home.
Thank
And,
you.
and routing stuff,
Thank
so.
you, Mr. Wheeler. Did he? Is it okay if I talk now? I mean, it's a discussion. Okay, Nancy, you haven't said anything, neither have you, Krista?
No, I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay, so when I attended that meeting on Wednesday that Jacob was talking about last week, and it seemed to me that there was no full plan about what to do, and then it was, oops, the trees are in the way. And actually, what I understood was that it was only when your person had started cutting down trees that, that a permit was requested to cut the trees, because there was no acknowledgement or no recognition of a tree ordinance. And that some of the cost that you describe in here was already in the works with the infrastructure, the way it was trying to, I guess, link it in with what's already there. And I understood that that was another cost of that for infrastructure. And it seemed to me that it was self-imposed hardships, that the trees were not considered. And as you said in your first variance, which is maybe unfair, the trees were in the way. And after I read this, I thought the trees are still in the way. And I am aware now, after that meeting, that you have stated that you'll do what needs to happen to make this work, that it's something that you want workable. And when I think about what we have to do to make it work, I get really sad. I mean, because the obvious solution is cut the trees. And what I also understand is that there's already been damage to the trees. Just the work that you did in clearing out the trees and creating a space to build this new structure has already damaged those trees. And I don't know that there's any way to mitigate the wounds that those trees have already received. And I guess maybe Jacob maybe knows more about that. Now, when I'm reading this, I'm thinking about the significant hardship that the trees have already experienced because of the lack of forethought, including the trees in your plans. And I'm looking at ADA requirements and how to maximize and create a comfortable and usable environment and for the community with wedding sites. I hope I'm not going in circles. I'm aware that if that any agreement that we come up with is probably going to involve cutting trees. That's your ultimate goal. And I'm very sad and uncomfortable about that. And so I do not want to be responsible for coming up with a plan. I don't. It seems like it's a death warrant that I'm agreeing to. And I may be a crazy old lady who loves the trees. but I am a crazy old lady who loves the trees. And so I think at this point, I would like for our group to think about making suggestions on what we can do that could include cutting the trees, instead of just looking at this that we cannot cut them. I think we need to look at the other side of this, where I have been kind of, I don't want to say festering, but I've been obsessing about what we can do.
Well, we are a tree city.
USA.
And, if the only way to deal with this is come up with, you know, what can replace those trees is how many and how big a trees can we plant and where would we plant? In that area, like along the parking lot, you know, further down or
Is
out
there,
in the field?
It would Well, I guess it would be up to the golf course about where to put the trees, but I think we can make a recommendation of a minimum size that the tree board would require,
Okay.
and that would be,
And
and how many.
you said add up the inches and.
You add up the inches, and then so like, we could I believe we could request a minimum of like a 65-gallon tree, which would be roughly a 3-inch caliper tree. So we could make a a requirement like that. And then they'd have to add up to, the diameter inches there. In a situation like that, what I would request is, so they've already removed 5 trees. I would require them to replace all 7 trees in the diameter inches. So we also get the diameter inches of the trees already removed. So I believe we can make suggestions like that
So,
and more.
How do we determine the size of the trees already cut? Do we know
I believe we do. They should be on the permit.
no, they were cut, there was no permit for the first 5 trees.
There was, I believe so.
I understood there wasn't.
There was a permit for the first
Well,
5.
is there a permit if they're not heritage? Do you have to have
Yeah,
a permit?
I understood.
You do.
Yeah, we had a demo for a permit, and also we had a bunch of equipment we needed to get in to do it. A lot of asbestos removal, I mean, the demolition of the building is
Maybe
crazy.
one time, let's practice one person speaking, okay, so we can hear everybody. So you're saying there was a permit.
Mhm.
I understood there wasn't, because a person was cutting away at the trees and then was told by somebody, maybe it was Jim, that they needed to be cut down, Jim Burton, that there needed to be a permit to cut any trees.
Correct.
And what I understood was that those 5 trees had already been cut.
No, there were, one was in the process of being cut and demoed, and was also coming out to get the permit for them and all of that stuff. So
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you just said. One was
one
over,
was in the process when it
Of
was
what?
there of getting cut.
that
And
had a permit.
no, it did not, and we needed to get permits. And then, so the permit came. I also was not, this is secondhand information, just for you all to know. I wasn't privy, that wasn't exactly there at the time, so, I think Joe could speak better of that, if that's something you need to send out an email or ask him, you know, on the timing of that. You know, that'll be fine, but
I think what we were asking about is the size of the trees to be replaced.
All 5 of those trees that you were referencing earlier, they were all under 19 inches, so they can be cut.
Without,
Every resident, no, every resident can just cut down a tree that's less than 19 inches.
But there's a
19
permit
inches above,
required
yeah.
nonetheless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything you get to get a permit to cut a branch or hang in your roof.
Exactly, so I think what we're looking for was the diameter inches of those other 5 trees recorded?
Yes, that's what I just said, they were all
Yeah,
okay.
19 inches.
Alright, so,
so,
got it.
In reading, which was a wonderful exercise, on tree care management plans, there was something that I read about how every time a tree is removed for whatever reason, it's replaced with, a tree.
Unless that's written in our ordinance, it's a non-issue. That you can discuss that under your, that item that you have on there. All you can do is make a ruling on what's in your ordinance right now. You want me to get you a copy of your ordinance?
I was speaking hypothetically of a tree management plan that I read
Mhm.
that has occurred at Texas State University with, about replacing trees, and we were trying to come up with a plan for that. Now, if it's not in the ordinance, I guess we'll get that information either from the Double J Ranch golf course or from our city legal person
Get which information?
about whether what we're doing is legal or not.
Council would have to change the tree ordinance in order to require them to do something.
So I don't understand that, Suzanne. You're saying that we need to change the ordinance to change any suggestions that we make to Double J Ranch?
If, you can make suggestions for them, but to make them follow your suggestions, it would have to be in an ordinance.
Okay.
Not ever.
So let's go back to what I said a minute ago about not wanting to be responsible for a plan.
Mhm.
So in making suggestions for your plan that you will develop, we could look at a lot of different things. One of the first things that occurred to me, thank you, that was good clarification. One of the first things that occurred to me when I heard about your variance was the idea of cutting 2 live trees when there are hundreds of trees on your property and many of them have already died because of oak wilt. And so the idea of cutting live trees when so many dead trees have already withered away is unconscionable. Pardon?
Or still standing dead.
Still standing dead. Good point. So I know at some point in some of our discussions, we talked about how compromise, it's compromise, right? That's what we're talking about here. But if a suggestion was made about treating the oak wilt, or making a referral to an oak wilt specialist, like Oak Wilt Pros, this is just hypothetical, it's just suggestion, and having them do an assessment and begin to replace a certain number of those dead trees, have them identified, assessed for oak wilt. And then, I mean, that would be something that we could work with perhaps. Even though it means compromising and killing 2 trees.
I have a tree question. If there's a tree with oak wilt, even if it's dead, is it still contagious to the trees around it?
No, so once oak wilt passes through a center, you can, hypothetically replant oaks and you're gonna be okay.
Oh,
So the exception to that rule is red oaks, which carry the spore mat.
right.
Ideally, any kind of infected red oak, you would want to completely remove from site.
Okay.
And red oaks are the most vulnerable for oak wilt.
Right.
So,
And so if you, replace a tree that, with a tree that had a red oak that had oak wilt, could you plant another tree in that space and it wouldn't get oak wilt?
I'm sorry,
Okay. If you, had a red oak there, took it out because it had oak wilt, could you put another tree in that space that wasn't a red oak?
yes.
And it wouldn't be infected?
Or an oak? You know,
Hypothetically, you could.
Hypothetically.
I mean, I would give it some time to let those roots rot and, properly decompose, but yeah, you can replant oak trees in an oak will center, even if it was a red oak that was there.
Okay.
As long as the infected tree was completely removed from site,
What does that mean?
absolutely. What do you mean?
Excuse me, what does that mean? Do we remove the roots as well?
The above ground part, so the roots are gonna decompose naturally because there's no living part of the tree, so
Right. But
the
the,
skeleton root system. Dying roots.
the dying root system, but the oak wilt is killing the tree through the roots and it passes it on through the roots.
So typically that's how live oaks transfer oak wilt. Red oaks, it's less common for, that type of transition. Red oaks carry a spore mat. So the nudibilla beetle will land on that spore mat and then go infect, other trees.
And red oaks are, I think Carl Blocky said, 90% mortality rate if they catch oak
Right.
wilt,
It's a lot higher, yeah.
a lot higher.
Yeah, I mean, for any tree that has oak wilt, you're talking about less than 25% survival rate.
So we have 2 trees that have been damaged by construction that was in the construction that was already occurring, right? So these trees are vulnerable, is that right?
But I thought they were Spanish oak.
It's a type of red oak, and Spanish oak is just a common name.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you wanna get really into it, it'd be called, the scientific name Quercus rubra. There,
we won't make those.
each tree, I mean, every tree has several different common names, Spanish oak, red oaks,
Why would you get-
Shoebark oak.
Yeah, but why would you give a Spanish oak, or really have 2 different names if in fact it's a red oak?
That's why we use scientific names in the industry.
We're both humans. I happen to be a Mexican human and you're not. I mean,
Really?
yeah.
So who's the red oak here?
Well-
Type bananas, there's different kinds of bunches.
May I say something? Just kind of, in meeting with Iris and Jacob last week, and hearing about the tree diameter stuff and those types of things. And it's hard for us to even suggest what to do here to get this going. And I think ultimately for us, that's of course what we'd like to do is be able to talk and come out with a great solution. And we've got a lot of stuff that we're looking to do on this golf course, a ton. And this is, step 1 of it, kind of step 3 for the process of, demos and those types of things and,
Reverting back to study.
Demo, it's not
and the course
demonstration.
management and cart paths and of course the trees and all of that stuff. But we are looking to do that.
So,
And in my
Jeff.
research,
excuse me, you use the word demo. Is that demonstration or
demonstrates
demolition?
the existing building that was there. Tear it down.
Demolition.
Demolition, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But in speaking and hearing Jacob speak last week, I know a lot about landscaping in the sense of pricing and terms and, gallons of trees and what's available, and, we are very, I would love to try, somewhere between 10 and 15, 65 to 95 gallon trees. Ranging from, big tooth maples and bur oaks. I think they survive really well. Red oaks, I'm not a big fan of. The Mexican white oak, the Mexican sycamore, and the crepe myrtles is where we had come. We love a lot how those look. We had a couple discussions with, I'm very close with Matt and Jenny. over at Wimberley Gardens and their availability and wholesale that we can access and tap into. And as, you know, Jacob was referring to, you know, 15 of these types of trees, I mean, we're looking at, you know, a good $50,000 to $60,000 worth of landscaping that we have of just trees. You know, we're definitely really looking to get an arborist out there, and get going on some of the issues that we have on the course. And I think if we were to be able to come up with some agreements about the arborist and the existing, I mean, that's gonna take a long time. Right, so I truly believe trying to figure out, is 10, 15 a good number? Is 15, 20 a good number of these types of things that will help give us a resolution? And also, you know, saying, hey, we're gonna get an arborist, we're gonna give the report, and we'll send it over, and we'll start checking boxes. So once we get the report, we can give it to you, and then we'll just start checking boxes on this report because we want to get a handle on something. I know it can't, and that's gonna take, as you know, a while to get done. And until that gets done, you know, with me, how do you give a variance on removing them? Right, so, you know, that is something that we're really after. I want you all to know that. I think as far as, you know, exactly saying where we're gonna put them at the moment, we don't know. You know, we couldn't give you a plan. We could tell you, you know, 10 to 15, you know, would be great. Would be what we were looking to do. We were looking to already plan about 6 of them in the back, and definitely some crepe myrtles, and definitely some of the, we were trying to get some maples out there because they're just such a beautiful tree. And, you know, we're looking at the 95 gallons, just the availability. I mean, you know, the last freeze, we had a big farm up in, you know, just outside of Dripping Springs. They lost 70 trees from the freeze, and they're no longer in business. But,
So I think our power is about expended.
I just have one question. Are you willing to pay for the arborist to do all this work?
oh, I'm sorry?
Yeah,
Yeah, oh, yeah, well, that's what we were trying, you know, we definitely wanted to get them out here. You know, we're looking to improve this golf course. I mean, we've been through 3 greenskeepers. You know, the grass, I mean, the irrigation systems that we've been doing and trying to deal with the drainage, the cart paths. I mean, we're trying to make it very desirable for all the homeowners and for people who come in. I mean, we don't, you know, putting this event center on a cruddy golf course that isn't pleasing to the eye, that's not very smart investment. And, you know, I know Joe, the owner, he owns 2 other golf courses. And, you know, he's a country club in Arizona that's, you know, in the top 150 in the United States. I mean, he definitely, and he owns a house here in Wimberley and loves this area and is looking to really dial up this place. So you know, I think that's key. You know, I really do. And I think, you know, a report and a quantity of trees would be a great,
Which includes what?
from an arborist, you know, going through the golf course and writing up a report and, you know, talking, I'm not exactly sure. Jacob could tell you how long that could take. You know, I think it was gonna take a minute to assess that type of situation.
So we're looking at tree management plans for the city at this point. So it seems to me that you have a small city and need a tree care plan to proceed with any kind of world-class golf course, like you were saying. So you need to know where to start, and the first start is an assessment. And that would hopefully include an Oak Wilt assessment.
I believe that it has to.
Okay, good.
It's the whole of the whole.
Yeah, the golf course and walking around and taking an assessment, and we've got some damage out there that we need to take care of, and that we're looking to take care of, and be able to report intelligently of what we're trying to do. You know, I mean, we obviously got off on the wrong foot here with the city of Wimberley and also the prior builder.
Where Wood Creek?
I'm sorry, Wood Creek, apologize.
May I
You know, we
say-
got off on a tough start, you know, and we're looking to say, hey, we need to do over, right?
So may I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Before we get into a motion, would you consider coming up with a timeline for getting an arborist, doing a tree care management plan? You'll need an oak growth assessment and then a tree care management to keep on going to sustain whatever you do. You've already talked about replacements. Could you, replacement trees?
You know, I mean, I think in all fairness, we've got to kind of take this all together and strive for each other. I think, you know, I don't believe we're showing any signs of doing anything second rate.
That's,
So in any demands or any specifics that we get, I'm not exactly sure that would be a route that we would want to go. We definitely want to start taking care of trees, and we definitely want to figure out the problem and how to, you know, stop the problem from continuing to happen. As far as a 20-year long time management of those stuff, I'm not exactly sure that we're gonna check that box at this particular point. I think, you know, getting the report and seeing what we got on hand with, and how to mitigate some of that stuff, I believe that's step one. It can help with the process of, you know, 15 trees of, you know, 10, 15 trees of these, you know, 65 to 95 gallons. I think it's a great place to where we can all go. However, it was very difficult for us to write that in the beginning. We more or less were hoping, as you can tell in the letter, suggestions from you all, like, do this, this, and this, and then we'll give the variance in it, you know, and then we could look at that and say, well, yeah, no, yes, you know, and then say, how about this here? And then we come up with a good, that was our hope. And I know in hearing, Ms. Harrison, hearing you speak last week and you know, today, it doesn't sound like you want to suggest to us. So I wanted to just say that I kind of came up and Joe and I spoke yesterday and today in regards to, you know, hey, what about this? Is this a good start? Is this good for you all? You know, so on and so forth.
yeah, I'd like to clarify some things here. I appreciate that you understand we started off on the wrong foot, because I think you did start on the wrong foot.
Absolutely.
And now we're trying to work with that and still take care of Wood Creek City trees. And your golf course is part of Wood Creek. It's part of the family, so to speak. Even if it isn't public land, it's private land. I do not want to be responsible for creating your plan. And I think, as Suzanne was saying, it's not in the ordinance for us to do that for you. We can make suggestions. I'm happy to make suggestions. And then it's up to you to say, okay, we've got step one, we're gonna mitigate the oak wilt. We're gonna get an arborist. I have a name for you. And do what needs to happen, step one, because you want world-class golf course. Step two, something about replacing trees. And, you know, we're making suggestions. We're happy to make suggestions, but we're not gonna write up a plan for you. That's not what I want to do, and according to them, I can't.
Then how would we go about getting the variance there?
Um,
How would we
might-
be able to get that taken care of in a decently timely manner?
Well, we're on the way here. We're having this discussion. You've given us more suggestions that what you were willing to do. I mean, I heard them, I think we still have a lot of discussion here. I'm just saying that I cannot be responsible for making a plan. I mean, will it eventually, if you come up with the right plan, then this board might be willing to give you the variance.
And that's what I was definitely speaking of, right? And that's definitely what I was saying, 10 to 15 of the 65 to 95 gallon trees. And definitely working hand in hand with an arborist to continue. I think that is a great place here. And, we definitely we definitely we don't have a plan yet, because I think too many up front is what we don't want to do. But we, as you know, we do have lots and lots of trees, and how these can fit in around there and look correct is just gonna take some time. So I think the quantity of that, and, also knowing the expense that we'd go through to do that, I think is very key. I think in anybody trying to make a decision on something like this, even though it's hard to put a price tag on it, correct? So, it's not like we're definitely not willing to spend some money and to do this correctly.
So
With
where
y'all.
we are right now, I think, is that it's probably time to consider a motion. We've discussed this properly, I think. And I do appreciate what you've said. And I am also thinking about the metaphor that we've been using about wrong foot and thinking about good faith. So is anybody on this board ready to make a motion for how to proceed?
I have a question. What is your timeline, for going forward to building your venue?
Well, currently, right now, we have gotten it in the correct hands that it needs to go through to communicate with Wood Creek, and we got our geotech guy. I believe that it will be drilling here and doing soil testing the end of this week, maybe beginning of next week. We've got everything's into our MEP guys. Their MEP is a construction term, it's mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. Those all have to be very strategically designed when you have occupancy loads and event centers and commercial sites, right? And so, having a full set, I know everything that you all have seen has just been tidbits of kind of information and this and that. The original builder who was seeked out to do this and, get everything taken care of, he built on unrestricted land. He wasn't, privy or he was like, what do you mean we have to do this, right? So, since then, Joe's been, I'm a home builder. So Joe has been consulting with me, and we have, I'm doing various projects on this course already. And so we're kind of crossing over and taking care of all that. So we're looking to get everything here in the next 30, 60 days and get approved,
So do I understand that you're proceeding with working on the infrastructure without a variance? Is that?
No,
what
we
you're-
are not touching anything any further
Okay.
until we get our ducks in a row. Not only, we're at a standstill with, all the appropriate to get, all the structural and the foundations and everything engineered and all of that done through, all the various steps that Wood Creek requires and out in the state of Texas and all that good stuff. So we are on top of it all, and it's gonna take a bit, but, of course, we're trying to do this right alongside with that as well.
Okay, so thank you.
Did you have a question?
I don't know if it's necessarily a question, but just maybe food for thought. We are right on the golf course, we're right on the 6th hole, my husband's a golfer, this is a golf community, I think there are a lot of people that are very excited to see things happening on the course. I'm excited for the event, that's the most exciting thing. but when we talk about cutting down these trees and planting more trees, we of course want to hear that, but I think what I would feel comfortable with is if, I mean, I won't feel comfortable just cutting down trees, but if there is and this is just a suggestion, right? Getting the tree survey done, having a game plan that is brought to the board that is really attacking there's a lot of residents here that know there's disease that is borderline on properties, right? There's a lot of residents here that don't want these trees cut down. There's a lot of residents that like cut the trees down, let them build it, let them do it. So having a game plan that not only allows you guys to move forward and build this, awesome golf course, awesome clubhouse, but also that satisfies all of the board taking care of the big issue on the golf course, coming with a game plan that attacks the oak wilt that is spreading.
We've had it here for
Yeah,
20 years.
yeah.
Let's bring trees.
Jacob, in your professional mind, what would, if you were to guess, knowing the condition around, if you were to guess, how long does that process take? And just for everybody kind of, the amount of money that would take to take care of.
Or for like an inventory of, a survey of your.
Well, you know the golf course and the condition a lot of the trees are in, correct?
Yeah.
What would you roughly say, going through that and treating all that and taking care of that, how long would that take? And also, what would a cost on that be?
Man, I think, so if we wanted to treat all those trees with, and then remove the dead ones, I think you're looking at roughly a 3-month job. 5 days a week, roughly 80 to 100,000.
Right, so I definitely agree. So I think, I think that's definitely an area that I think if that's pressing, I think that's definitely an area that could help mitigate getting this step going. I think, and I think the variance could be written up, obviously, we're gonna have to remove the trees early than that. But if we're proactively working and, we get a report by next meeting and all of that stuff of what we can occur, and hopefully that could maybe take place and all that stuff, I think that's a very good solution to this, right? And I think that's a lot of time, it would be hard to say, hey, plant 15 trees equaling the 10, whatever, what we have access to, number one.
Yeah.
And also, what we can do, and also take care of the oak wilt around. I mean, obviously, we can slowly do the oak wilt thing. I mean, more damage would be caused. And that's nothing that we're looking into doing, and we're looking to get a handle on it. But all this stuff is, we gotta do something. We gotta figure out something together where we can get this thing resolved here in 30 days and go, boom, let's work together and get it done.
So, I'm gonna suggest that it sounds like you've got the workings of a plan. You're on it. And I would like to make a motion at this point that we table this particular item to give you some time to work on that plan and not accept or reject the variance, but to create an amendment to what you've already presented. And in the meantime, that we can have another meeting to discuss fully and maybe offer you some more suggestions in that special I realize that this is way too much, Krista.
Yeah.
I do, I'm formulating it in my mind. I like where you're going with your plan. And that's what I would want, that you create the plan. And so the timeline is a great question. I would like a plan from you with, what you and Joe want to do with the timeline. You're saying 30 days to get this variance?
No, I was just talking, you guys meet every 30 days, correct?
Right.
So I was figuring next meeting, give us some time, table it till then, unless you guys, want to vote on it now or want, like, I don't know how all that works.
Okay,
And then
so,
definitely wanted to maybe discuss and say, yeah, Jeff, you do this, you get this in the work. We'll work together with you and we'll get this done. But it's still, to me, that's what I was hopeful today, which may take another meeting, which is something, of course, we don't want that to happen, but, we're willing to do whatever it takes. Like I said, we got off on the wrong foot and we're looking to get back going correctly.
so back to the motion. I'd like to table this particular item and variance request until the next meeting, where perhaps we could have some more input from you with a plan that you and Mr. Gambino can come up with based on the information that you've already provided today. I mean, I'm making the motion, is there a second? Or is there any more discussion on that? Is there a second?
I'll second it. She'll second it.
Okay, so is there any additional?
Just let me write it out so how we start to vote, so we can, alright, so it's gonna be, the motion's gonna be moved to table this item of variance request to give them time to plan out their timeline and give us essentially a concrete plan of what they will do in terms of compromise.
Well, and do we need to mention that he talked about getting an arborist and doing a survey and mitigating, is that correct?
You
Yeah.
spoke about an
I'm
arborist.
sorry.
Yeah, so what you're saying is you'll talk to them about getting an arborist and doing a tree survey and, make a plan for mitigation of what's discovered in that survey.
Yes, we've had, just so you all know, we've had 2 arborists out already. It's too big for them. So we are looking for somebody who can handle it. So I appreciate that and, I'll definitely take that. We'll definitely be calling tomorrow. I think Jacob, I don't know, could we have you out? I did want to talk to you before I left. And we were worried about it, since we are getting off to a good start, if there's any conflict of interest with what's going on. If you're a part of this now, I didn't want that to come and bite you or bite us in the butt, it was a thought that we had.
Yeah, I think at this point, I mean, I couldn't do anything
Okay,
with my business to help y'all.
okay,
You have my information, I give free advice,
okay,
but
okay,
yeah, beyond working with y'all, I don't think I could do
okay.
So
Fair enough.
back to the motion. And I'm happy to talk to you about this referral. It's one that it's just one referral.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so the motion is that we're gonna table this particular item to the next meeting.
Okay, I just have another question. How long before we get to finalize this? Whether it's gonna be a yes or a no, how many more meetings are we gonna have to, and how much more negotiating are we gonna do before we say yes or no?
What's the answer to that, Nancy?
I don't know, I'm asking you.
As if I knew the answer.
Oh,
I mean, I think that
well,
that's,
Can I just make a suggestion?
yes,
I think, okay, so based on the ordinance, if we wanted to vote on the variance right now, we wouldn't technically be able to say, we pass it with the conditions that you plant X amount of trees, blah, blah, blah. We're not allowed to do that. So, but if he comes back the next time with like, our application for our variance states that we plan on planting X amount of trees that are certain, 65 to 95 gallons. We plan on hiring an arborist. We plan on mitigating any damage to healthy live trees furthermore, and like, making a plan for oak wilt. And these are all concrete things that we, in good faith, that we promised to do if this variance gets passed, then I think that's what we can vote on at the next meeting,
Thank you.
rather than just like,
Yeah, I know that it is I don't wanna rush things, man, I'm sorry. I know it is a $400 situation, right? And that we would try to save the $400 for not filing another variance again, 500. But if we were, could we add to that and say that's what we're doing and come to a vote? So, I would love some feedback and some resolution, like, no, you need to do more. I'm with you, I don't wanna come here and discuss it, I'd rather, and Joe would rather say, hey, look, we're gonna get an arborist and we're gonna plant 10 3-inch trees right now. And say that and say, hey, let's vote on it. And if you guys all say no, then we know we need to add. So, it's very hard for us too. And I hope, if you guys can help me, I know there's, more than two, and there's 5 of us here. We can, that would definitely be something that we're willing to say, hey, look, we are, and we want to do this. We're doing it.
I think we'll just have to ask staff tomorrow, but I would think that we could just like add an addendum onto the current variance application where you guys are just saying, here's like X, Y, and Z things that we plan on doing if the variance is approved.
Yeah,
So I don't wanna like guarantee that that's 100%
Well, I mean,
what
we
we can do, but I think we should be able to do
We
that.
could table forever.
can we do a fake vote? I'd love to hear from each of you.
Oh, like how,
Oh, what?
Like a fake vote, like, hey, if I tell them my plan is, 10 trees, 65 to 95 gallon, planted around the center for not only for photos and help with the landscape. I would love to go 10 because I would love to deal with the arborist more so. And
So,
put that on and that we will work with these guys for, the road and get a handle on this oak wilt.
I'm
To
gonna
the best of our
interject.
abilities at this
I'm gonna
particular.
ask you to stop.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? I'm gonna change my motion.
talk really slow so I can get it perfect.
When I think.
Alright, move
Um,
the table.
I'm gonna suggest that we table this request for now, the variance, the motion, and that we call a special meeting where we can discuss this more fully and give you more information and give you some time to check on possibility of what is required for oak wilt mitigation or construction mitigation. I'm thrilled that you've already talked with Ginny and Matt about trees. And so this will give you a little bit of time if we schedule it in 2 weeks. Okay, I'm gonna file a motion that we, table this variance request for now, and that we hold a special meeting within 2 weeks to discuss it fully with the Double J Ranch Golf Course team and, support a plan going forward.
So are you thinking the 26th,
Is that February?
2 weeks?
In 2 weeks, or she said in 2 weeks, within 2 weeks?
Within or in?
What did she say?
Within the next 2 weeks. So the plan is on our desk before then, we can meet before then?
Yeah,
We can meet anytime. It's just obvious we need more time to pump out something here.
when do we want to have a special meeting?
She said 2 weeks from today, which is the
I thought she
26th.
said we can.
I just think that there's information that you do not have from the arborist, from the Oakwood specialist, about a tree care management plan. And of course, you need to talk with Mr. Gambino about what he's willing to do. So even if we did it on the 19th, which is next week, or the 26th, the following week.
Either one wants to leave.
So the motion is, well, we're still discussing. Any further discussion?
It has to be seconded.
I just,
I know, but we're still discussing, and I was the first motion, so I believe there's a second motion when there's a motion that I can fully form. I was discussing the motion, so I'd like to form the motion
Okay.
first of all, and then we can second it, especially with the date.
so we have another meeting on the 19th and the 26th,
Or the 26th.
yeah, or the 26th.
Mhm.
And at what point are we gonna make, is it all gonna get shelved up here one way or the other?
Yes,
Is it gonna be at the next meeting that we have?
possibly.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
No, that would be the goal, like the next meeting to have a
Yeah.
final decision.
I think we all need to let this settle and then come out with a brilliant plan. That's how I think. I think we can do it. So the 19th or the 26th, if you're willing to do that?
Either date works for me.
Yeah, I could do the 19th. Or the 26th, but.
Jacob?
I can go either way. I mean, I'm free every Monday.
I am out of state on the 19th. But I'm here on the 26th.
All right, so we would really like you to be here. So,
Well, we did have a special meeting to,
Are you talking about the one on the 17th?
yeah, the one that we just had.
Yeah,
So is that kind of what we're doing? We can't vote on anything, we can't do anything, we're just all gonna discuss things.
so in a special meeting, I believe we can. So we created a quorum with all of us being here. With Iris and I just there the other day, that we didn't have a quorum,
Okay,
so we couldn't vote on anything.
okay.
So you're not.
So,
I just wanted to make,
yes, so if we have a special meeting with 5 of us there,
Decide one way or the other.
then we can vote,
No,
On a
I
motion
think we're choosing the 26th.
agree or to reject,
Right,
or suggest more.
so then, looks like 26, right?
Right.
Yes, and then,
Right.
I will confirm with either Jeff or Kevin tomorrow as far as like you guys just being able to make an addendum to your current application, just adding on the things that you would essentially be
Correct.
promising to do.
Okay,
And then hopefully, that would be what we would be voting on.
correct, yeah, that's what I was kind of gonna do, is reach out to Jeff and have it formally proposed so we can meet on it. You know, I'd love to grab that from Iris, I know you guys got a ton of stuff to do.
Well, I understood from Kevin last week that you could do that. I mean, that was brought up, how we can bring a variance and we could amend it and amend it and amend it. That was feasible, all right? What we're talking about is a timeline. And I think that would be a good thing to have, by when you're gonna do what. And then we can discuss it. But right now, it's up to the board to decide if we want to do this. I
Have a special meeting?
want to propose a motion that we table this variant request and call a special meeting for
The 26th.
26th of February. So that's, is there a second?
All second.
And so let's take a vote. Did you get it? Can we go
Yes.
slow enough?
Yes, move to table this variance request and call special meeting on February 26th. So, we will start with Vice Chairperson Jacob McElroy,
Yes.
Board Member Terry Bernie Bissett,
Yes.
Board Member Nancy Covington.
Yeah.
Board Member Cheryl Mills.
Yeah.
Chairperson Iris Ramos.
Yes. Okay, so the motion is passed. All right.
Well, thanks for coming. You're welcome.
Maybe,
Sorry, guys, to make this so difficult.
No.
It's a difficult issue.
It is.
Suzanne, I have a question, I don't know, maybe you could answer it. I was gonna ask either Jeff or Kevin tomorrow.
What?
If he, since we're not allowed to say, we would approve your variance if you did X, Y, and Z, but can he come in and add an addendum to his request saying, if this variance is passed, we promise to do X, Y, and Z, and then that makes it easier for us to vote on that?
Honestly, I would have to watch the video of your entire discussion before I'd be willing to answer any question. But I just got a text message that y'all made 3 motions and you only voted on the last one. So just make sure that if you actually made 3 motions, you vote on all 3.
Nothing was seconded.
Okay, well, there's second by speaking. So whoever spoke after the person made a motion automatically seconded it. So you might
I
want to
mean, it was
clarify.
all, it was
Tell you
like,
what,
we're moving to
what I
call a
was-
special meeting, and then we like went and picked a date, and then she redid the motion to include the date.
That would be an amendment. So if you've, let's see, let me see what you did.
Do you have any questions?
These were the first.
Not at all.
Thank
you for coming,
and then they just-
Peace.
Thank you for doing it.
What's that?
Thank you for doing it.
She already.
Problem. Look forward to it, and, you know,
We'll do this.
again, sorry, yeah, I'll keep my bit. What can I
Okay,
say?
so once she says, I make a motion to, or move to,
I've heard of
to make a motion, whoever spoke.
I think they have a really good.
Seconded, whatever she said, but if it's too long or clarified, you can have her reconsider. Meaning go back to the motion, or since you haven't actually moved on to the next item, you can have them vote on,
This is just,
um,
on.
Yes, that's what I hold on.
was it the first one?
I wanna make sure.
You're not gonna miss me.
No,
This-
yeah, I don't
this one,
get
okay.
you all in trouble.
You're not.
Because really, they didn't even have to do that. We'll deal with item variance request to give them time to plan out their timeline and give us concrete plan on hiring arborists. And if they're able to mitigate damage to the live trees. So that was Irish and Jacob. So.
Well,
the change-
that was just for this. And then we have our discussion, and then
Iris did this one,
yeah,
and that was him too,
well, that was,
or
no, it just,
who spoke after?
well, then she was still speaking and wanted to make it more concise to this.
Okay. Nobody spoke after she said all that?
Hold on, I spoke.
Okay, so whoever spoke after she said that second was motion. So then,
Sorry, gang.
okay, so this is your amendment, because you put a date. This time.
Okay to call a
these are two
recess?
different- Yeah, if you want to call a 5-minute recess, the general practice is if you've been meeting for 90 minutes, you take at least a 5-minute break. So offer your members an opportunity to use the loo or get something to drink, and they can come back. And let me show her how to, I'll mute the camera. So you reset, and if you can notate on the roll call sheet what time it is that she's calling a recess,
We're calling a recess for 5 minutes.
and you have to stay 6 minutes.
Oh, 6:11.
Okay, so you came back in recess at?
Sugar slow.
6,
I'm about,
no,
about
6.
the same.
So 6:18, you reconvene. So you've got two motions that you need to vote on. You already voted on the amendment, and you have to work your way backwards, and Ms. Krista will help you vote on which motions you need to vote on.
Who texted you?
Kevin?
I'm glad he was there. I miss him when he's on. You can tell him that.
He probably heard you.
We're still being recorded.
You're back in session.
Okay, so now we are going to vote on motion 4B, which was slightly earlier in the discussion for the final amendment. So that motion was move to table this request for the variance and call a special meeting in 2 weeks. Then discuss it fully with Double J and support a plan going forward.
That was the last one you just did.
No,
No,
No, because the last one we did have the specific date of February 26th. So that was the amendment to this motion.
Okay, so we need a second?
No, we're just
no,
voting.
you're just voting.
Oh, voting.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, board member Terry Bernie Bissett. Board member Nancy Coddington.
Yeah.
Board member Cheryl Mills.
Yeah.
Chairperson Iris Ramos.
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Jacob McElroy.
no.
And then we're gonna go. The original motion, made by, Chairperson Iris Ramos, it said move to table this item and various requests to give them time to plan out their timeline and give us concrete plans on hiring an arborist and what they're able to do to mitigate damage to the live trees.
So basically, y'all went super broad, a little bit narrower, and then you said date. So you have, when you make,
Gotcha.
you gotta work through that.
We're voting on them.
Right.
Board member Nancy Coddington,
Yes, Sonia. Yes.
board member Cheryl Mills.
Yes.
Chairperson Iris Ramos,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Jacob McElroy,
No.
board member Terry Bernie Bissett.
Yes.
Thank you.
But keep in mind what council member, I'm sorry, or Richardson said, that every time you say the words, I move, you are initiating a motion. So before you say those words, carefully think what you're gonna say. We do have another like planning and zoning, when they say, I wanna make a motion, give me a minute, they'll write it out. So that their thoughts are concise and
Thank you.
Right, now we can move on to agenda item number.
Okay, so, item number 5. Discuss and take possible action on nominations for tree board chairperson.
Oh. Has everybody jumped up and said, I wanna do it? All real drinking?
No, I don't think so. But you can.
As chair.
No, we're taking nominations for,
Chairperson.
Chairperson.
yeah.
I nominate Iron.
Does that need a second?
Is that what we're doing?
We haven't made a motion, so.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. It's getting late in the day.
I'm confused.
So we're just, this is a discussion before the motion
Oh,
of
okay.
vote.
But what are we voting on? What's the-
We're
what's
just
the-
nominating people for chairperson.
Okay, okay. Um. Sure. Ooh. Where are we on the agenda?
Number 5.
Basically, just discuss if anybody's interested in being chairperson, or if anybody's interested in not being chairperson.
And chairperson, that's just a member, right?
It's Iris's spot. You would run,
Oh, okay.
you would run the meeting
Okay.
and,
He's chair, then you're vice chair. Okay, oh, I see that. Okay, thank you.
oh, no, okay.
I'm not reviewing.
Are there any other nominations?
No.
Am I the only nomination?
You're already
He's just learning how to make motions
there.
after a year.
Well, see, now that you
We need to know the
Carry
deal.
on.
Yeah, right.
More time. Practice makes perfect.
Yeah, we need to know the deal at least, or maybe two.
All right, so now we can, anybody want to make a motion about Iris being the chairperson?
I move that, Iris Ramos be chair of the tree board.
I second that motion.
Any additional discussion?
Honestly.
This is hard work and you're doing great.
Did I?
Let's call for the vote.
All right, so we're voting on agenda item number 5, motion to nominate Iris Ramos as chairperson of the tree board. Board member Cheryl Mills?
Yeah.
Chairperson Iris Ramos?
Yes.
Vice President Jacob McElroy?
Yes.
Board member Terry Bernie Bissett?
Yeah.
Board member Nancy Connington?
Yes.
Okay, so the motion has passed. All right. Yay, chairperson. Okay, number 6, discuss and take possible action on nominations for tree board vice chairperson. Are you going to continue as vice chair?
I know, yes, ma'am.
I nominate Jacob.
Oh, thank you. I'll second that.
So we take a vote?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
I'd also like to change the name chair or vice chair. I think, yeah, I think
The chair of
I'm
vice.
like a police movie or something. Vice chair. Second chair? No.
No.
Now it sounds like we're in an orchestra.
Yeah.
How about the second, how about the second gentleman?
That's right, Terry, you seconded it. Who made it?
I don't know how, I mean,
File the motion and
Terry.
Terry
and
seconded it.
second.
Okay.
Congratulations, vice chair.
Oh, look,
We have-
we voted real fast.
Oh,
Yes.
I thought we did vote.
No.
I voted.
for yourself.
Oh.
So we're gonna vote on number, I.
Is it 3 o'clock yet?
Alright. We're gonna look forward to Chris.
On agenda, item number 6, the motion was to move to nominate Jacob McElroy as vice chairperson of the tree board. Chairperson Iris Ramos,
Yes.
vice chairperson Jacob McElroy,
Yes.
board member Terry Bernie Bissett.
Yes.
Board member Nancy Connington.
Yeah.
Board member Cheryl Mills.
Okay, so now, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Every voted no.
So then we move on to number 7, which is discuss and take possible actions or regarding tree board individual goals for 2024.
Oh, good.
So at this point, I'd like to congratulate all of you. We did a tree survey, we did an RFP, we did Arbor Day, we did Earth Day, we've done Arbor Day. And we have a designation of Tree City USA. And we're just getting to the heart of what we need to be doing. So I think it's taken a lot of effort and commitment to come here every month. And sometimes extra times and to stay as late as you do. So thank you for that. Does anybody want to discuss this now, or do you want to discuss it at a shorter meeting?
Yeah.
I think I think it's fine to discuss it now. I mean, I don't know exactly what possible actions we can take. I think we're just gonna talk about individual goals for our 2024, is that right?
I think it's good for each of us to consider what we came with, what we wanted when we came into this board, and what we want now. It can be one sentence.
Okay.
Okay, I can go for that.
This is just
What's,
discussion.
is that your sentence?
So let's be brief, okay?
For sure. Do y'all mind if I go first?
Please.
Okay, so in 2022, we got the Tree City USA accreditation. And I think it'd be a great goal for our 2024 is to get a growth award through the Arbor Day Foundation. Which you can find that on the Arbor Day Foundation website, how to achieve a growth award. But, I was looking at it earlier this week and I think we're kind of halfway there. So that would be my 2024 goal for our tree board, along with, completing our management plan.
Okay. I wrote it down. How about you?
Well, my goal is the same as when I started, when I agreed to be on the, tree board. And that's to, take positive steps with this Oakville thing. We're just spinning like a hamster on a wheel here. We need to move on.
I can agree with that.
Cheryl?
I still feel pretty green here.
Pardon?
I said I still feel pretty green here. I definitely would love for our goals to come up with a tree care management plan this year, sooner than later. That way we can go after and make a plan that is feasible and attainable for residents to combat the oak wilt that is running in our trees. And I'd love to talk more about other things when we talk about tree management plans based on some research that I did on some other similar cities of our size, and what they're doing.
Thank you. Terry?
Plant more trees.
Say that again?
Plant more trees.
Krista?
I think a goal I'd like to have is to just increase education with the residents about Oakville, about, you know, what they can do to help mitigate, the issues that are affecting us. And I mean, I know we do great education at, like our Arbor Day and those events like that, but the people that don't attend, they're not getting any of that information. So I don't know if there's another way we can do some kind of outreach that'll just really let everybody know kind of
What a
what.
brochure and everybody.
Yeah, something along the lines of that.
Is sending out information, I know the city email is shares relevant information when it comes to certain events that are happening by the city, but sharing more information, like if the tree board was to put out something,
Like a little newsletter?
yeah, like a newsletter almost, or something that is, whether it's quarterly or
Yeah,
twice a year, or something that is hitting every home.
let them know, what we're doing and.
Yeah.
What's coming. up.
Or just awareness,
Right.
just
Yeah.
education, because I feel like,
That's great.
as, we've been here for,
Get a book and. But, yeah.
Yeah, and keep it short and sweet because, a lot
infographics
of
or
people,
something.
what they get in the
Social
mail,
media.
goes in the trash.
Do what?
I said, a lot of what people get in the mail,
Mhm.
if it isn't what they're interested in, it's just gonna go in the trash.
That's why there's a card.
Just an email, because
I
I'm
think
just
it's like
like
an email
obviously
blast, yeah.
I think email is maybe, it's as good a way as any in today's world, because we're not in a paper world anymore.
And you read the subject and if you're interested, you'll open it.
Yeah.
So
But,
I,
we can't control what people are gonna do.
Yeah, let's share the line.
All you can do is, make them aware,
so
try to make them aware.
I feel like we've done a lot of busy work this last year. I mean, I said a lot in terms of our success rate when I started out. And we've been busy organizing as a tree board, which is a big deal. And it does feel sometimes like we're spinning wheels and then it's the next thing. Oh, there's another Arbor Day to plan, and I got real excited about the tree management care. I want to work on the trees. And, I'd like to continue some of the things that we started, like to try to get Carl Plucky involved and hire a city arborist that would not be a conflict of interest. And, we love having to consult with. We need somebody who can go out there and start cutting the trees down. You can't do all that.
Iris.
Let's not cut them down.
Well, I mean.
Yes.
Excuse me. I left that out.
But it's still the issue here, in my mind, is you wanna get a certified arborist. But according to the RFP that's out there, it's $20 an hour. That doesn't work.
Nancy, that's
No,
just an obstacle. It's an obstacle, yes, but we can work with it.
Wow,
We need to make it more appealing.
Yes.
like what?
Well, I mean, like Iris mentioned, we could potentially get an arborist on retainer. And I was talking to, another member of a different organization I'm a part of, and using a consolidated arborist, which is similar to having one on retainer, but instead, we pay $20 an hour. Dripping Springs pays $20 an hour. Same with, Blanco, or, smaller communities that can't afford their own arborist. We all share that person. And
We all pay our $20.
we all pay our $20 and it makes it a little bit more
Yeah.
appealing.
Yeah, I
So-
agree with that.
We would have to make adjustments to the RFP with that. And I think staying on topic, well, I guess no, that would be on topic. What, a goal for 2024 is to make a revision to the RFP. That'd be great.
So, all right, we've got a lot, and something else that occurred to me is that, might be helpful if we, and we don't need to do it today, but just think about the possibility of breaking out into smaller communities and working on certain areas of our big goals. Every single goal we've talked about is big. You like the newspaper idea or the newsletter idea? Let's do it.
So what would the committee do? Just come up with an article or what would the committee do?
Well, I think that would be up to whoever's on that particular committee to figure out. And I think it gets unwieldy when we're all having to agree to everything and then all work with it. I think that we can split off some things, like the Oakville, we cannot really, because that's a hot topic.
Now, when we meet in committees, we have to do it here with,
No.
Oh.
If we have committees of two, it's not a quorum.
oh, okay. So it's just getting together and brainstorming.
Yeah, and I think working things out, I'd like to talk about this growth award. But the idea of doing something bigger again, I'm still worn out from Arbor Day.
Yeah, I mean, like, we could put the growth award on as another day's
Is
agenda.
there a time limit to apply for that?
No, so just whenever we reapply, you can apply for a growth award at any time throughout the year. Ideally, growth awards are applied for, around the same time for a reapplication for the Tree Cities USA. So we'd reapply for Tree City USA, and in addition, we'd apply for a growth award and have all our documents
Okay.
present for that.
So, if we apply for this growth award and we get the award, what's in it for us?
Grant opportunities. I mean,
Opportunities.
opportunities.
Yeah,
Money,
well, I mean, money is my goal, but, you know, I don't know how to write a grant. And, you know, that's not our function here, to write grants.
No, and we would, I mean, the city has people that they work with that write grants. So we would say, hey, here's the grant that we want to apply for, give it to that grant writing company, and they would write it for us.
so there's a lot to figure out. I can put it on the agenda. If you want something on the agenda that you want specifically to work on, let me know, and let's work
I
on it.
think we got enough right now to deal with.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, at your leisure,
Yeah,
okay?
I don't think we need to put it on the agenda for March or,
If Jacob wants to put it on the
well, if you want
agenda,
to put it on the agenda,
Yeah, I might.
he might, he can.
okay.
We're gonna encourage here and work with obstacles. You're getting horsey, I can tell. I can see it. Okay, let's move on. Number 8. I love her horses, actually. It's good practice. Number 8, discuss and take possible action for Arbor Day celebration scheduled for April 27th, 2024. So, thank you very much for scheduling that. I can't attend. I have a friend coming in from out of town, the week of April 22nd. She'll be here all that week. So if you want my assistance, I will be able to help.
I don't think we should, I don't know why we're having another one in 5 months.
Whose idea was it?
Huh?
Whose idea was it?
It was probably my idea, and so well, we all voted on it, right? So the idea is to, host an Arbor Day event where we're not backing up to Spooktacular. And so switching motions to National Arbor Day rather than Texas Arbor Day. That way we have a higher attendance rate.
So.
Does that sum it up?
And on that.
Yeah, because we won't be having another one in October. We're just
Yeah.
not closing it, we're just
But it's
moving
too
it.
soon. In the first place, a lot of people that came to our one in November were there for a specific reason.
Mm-hmm.
They were there to hear Carl Flocky talk about what.
And we can have him, we can reach out to him and have him back in April for sure.
Now, you also talk, Iris, about about a run. Okay? And you asked me, because, you know, I complained and moaned about it, of doing it the way you all wanted to do it. Because I have a problem in that we're a small community here, and I think we have, you know, in my mind, we should be treating our community as part of our family. Okay? And I'm all in favor of having a run, okay? But a run with a purpose. A run with a reason. Okay. And a run that isn't gonna cost people a, entrance fee. We don't want people from the outside coming to this. And they will if you put it out there because, you know, San Marcos, I mean, it's a zoo.
I don't think we're not moving forward with the fund.
Are you not?
I don't think so. We don't have enough time.
Yeah, I think we're
Or
short
you
on
could if you
time
made it
and
simple.
a fun run.
Yeah.
If you want to plan it, you're welcome.
I can just,
I can't take it on the
Yeah,
capacity.
and I don't know that we have to take that. I just brought up something about people expect to have food, okay? You know, I don't care whether they have food or not, but I would be willing to, because a friend of mine, husband is a pit master for the new barbecue place that's coming to San Marcos. And I would be willing, if it's something that we work up and we want to have food, to ask him if he would supply the food for us. It would be good advertising for him.
Barbecue sounds great.
Wow.
Now I haven't asked him.
For April
I haven't, yeah, I haven't asked him yet to do that. And, you know, I have an idea of how to do it, so, and that would be to have just sample boxes of food for those people that, participated in the run.
And this is,
Oh,
and who is this person?
Right?
in the run?
Who's the,
With whatever the, I don't know what it's called yet, J or Jane something.
the
Oh, right.
business, right?
It's going to where Fish Tales used to be.
Oh, that place.
I'm
Okay.
assuming that's what you're talking about.
Fish-
So may
Yeah,
I
fish
On River Road.
interject here?
Yeah.
We are looking at a tree survey. We're looking at we have to get that done this year. We have to, this
So-
spring. And I cannot come the week of, I could come the weekend of the 15th, but I couldn't come any other time in April. And do we have enough time to plan?
Well, if you keep it simple, you do.
I think it's too much work.
I think if we follow basically what we did in November and, we could definitely achieve what we did in November by April 27th. And it would be breaking down into committees. Sounds like you got food, maybe
Yeah, but I'm
some,
not gonna go along with that, you know, if we're taking a vote on it, my vote is no,
And
to have it be like it was in November.
just for this one time. Next year, I mean, we could potentially start planning immediately for 2025.
I won't be here. You can plan for 2025.
We absolutely will plan for 2025.
That's fine. Any of us.
But I mean, so we did vote on doing an Arbor Day on the 27th. And I think, in my personal opinion, we have enough time to get a couple things together and do an event.
I'm not willing to do it unless, because, you know, it's kind of, it would have to be more my way than the big way you want to do it.
Okay. Well,
And that would be doing the run. I think that's a great idea. I do. I
a
think
couple
that's a
months
good
ago, I think we had enough time to plan for a run.
What do you have to plan?
We didn't. Well, you have to advertise for it, you have to get.
No,
t-shirts.
that's what you, no, you don't.
How do
Well,
we get people?
You do if you're in Austin, or if you're in San Marcos, or if you're in some bigger city. We're just a little community here. We're not, we can call ourselves the city of Wood Creek. That's our destination, but, you know, we're not that big.
How do you get
We-
people there?
Huh?
How do you get people there
How do you get people?
to show up to the walk? Or,
Well, I think one way is to do the email to residents. That would be one way to do it. You know, and make it, like I said, with a purpose. And the other reason that I even took this on to write this little thing up is because Iris, when we talked about it, she said, well, you come up with something. Well, I've come up with something.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
so I would like to I'd like to hear your idea again in further depth and.
Yeah, some other time. Is that what you?
No, right now,
We're running out of time.
we are,
We are
I mean,
running out of time, we need to. Yeah, and what I've got is relatively simple,
I like the idea of barbecue, I mean.
well, I'm sure you do. You'll latch right on to that, and I don't know that for a fact, I think he will do it.
You know, if there was a
What's the lead up to the
donation,
barbecue, what's the plan? What is?
Well, there is no plan yet.
would that be a
What do
way
you,
to
what are your
attract
notes? What
people?
are-
Well,
wanna do?
this is what I came up with, to send out an email perhaps saying, run, walk, and bike against Oakville. Okay? Join the community of Wood Creek by participating in this Arbor Day exercise. We, need each other as we continue to address the Oakville road problem. Sign up, get your number, and stick around after the run to see if you have won a great prize. Water along the way and samples from our barbecue spot, on River Road, that's to be determined. And then, you know, maybe we can make some kind of cupcakes or something like that as a dessert. And for kids, there will be kid prizes for winners too. So keep it really, just really simple.
Where would we walk?
Well, I don't know. You're the one that does logistics.
I know, and
I heard here that, we could do a 5K run here.
yeah,
Okay.
well, I mean,
Around the table,
So did I hear you say,
that's,
Cheryl, did
that's-
I hear you say you don't have the time to work on a run?
I
I mean, this is
don't,
very simple.
well, it's very simple, but also there's a lot of logistics to that. So where would we walk? Would we walk down Wood Creek? Would we need to close down Wood Creek? What would we do about safety for
Police?
kids walking or riding bikes or?
EMS?
I don't know, don't they have some kind of a, doesn't the city have some kind of a liability, thing if a kid falls down and scrapes his knee and screams bloody murder?
We have,
And,
liability is one thing, but having somebody there to take care of them if they fall down, or if they have a heart attack on the trail. You have to have personnel there to take care of them.
okay,
I
that's
mean,
all I got.
I will be very honest, one of the reasons why, like, I initially proposed doing the fun run walk to Iris, like, I think that would be a really great thing to have here in the city. I don't know if this is the year we do it, because we absolutely will need to get the word out there. I went around and put up flyers all over the square, we did an email blast, we did Facebook, we did 2 different articles, and we still had a very low turnout for Arbor Day in November.
posters.
Yeah.
And
I
the
thought we
posters, we had a very low turnout, and we did a ton to get the word out there. So if we're only relying on an email blast and we want
But
to,
we only want people in the community, we want people coming from Wimberley and Blanco and Austin and San Marcos, because if you put advertising out there, for those kind of things, they will come.
So,
And
we
then
cannot advertise
Then we
today.
have to get.
one question at a time, please. Jacob wanted to say something.
oh, well, so my opinion on like not wanting other communities to come join us, that shouldn't be a thing. If they wanna come from Wimberley or from Blanco or even Dripping Springs, they're
Or in a
welcome
park.
to, cause it's an Arbor Day event where
Or
we're
in
gonna.
a park.
Well, that's what we're gonna be discussing.
we're, we have to find parking for all of the residents as well. And that, my bottom line was the logistics of planning that. I don't think we have time. We have to have a location as far as where we would map out this walk.
Around.
What is safe and what is the safest route? And then taking all of the precautions to prep that area, like the lead up to it. Unless it's like, hey, meet us at the First Baptist Church and let's walk the trail, but it's not that simple when you
It should
talk
be.
about it. I mean, if you can make it happen, I'll support it, but
So,
I don't have
I mean,
any
it
ask
should
you
be,
to
that's
take that
the
on.
problem is that, you know, we tend to, overcomplicate everything. You know, and it should be simple, but I haven't thought about all these things because I don't think that way, you know.
So if we were to go back to what I started out, I can't be here on the 27th. Do you want to have a program on the 27th? Still? I won't be able to help. I'm having an eye surgery around the 1st.
I don't wanna have it at all if it were my choice.
Well, as a tree board, we have to have an Arbor Day.
If we have to.
We have one.
For
Every year.
2023, so now we're in
We
2024.
have to have one this year.
Every year.
And we had voted as a board not to have it in November like we did. So we had voted as a board for April 27th.
So it stays
That's
that
fine.
way.
So
So
that just lines up with the.
There will be no barbecue.
I bet we could find some barbecue. We're in Texas.
Oh, I'm sure.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, what if we did, potentially we had a barbecue cook-off and not, this would be for 2025. I'm spending.
Let's stay for your 7 o'clock.
Oh.
So should we just break down, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Should we break down into the same committees that we were, broken down to for November? And I'm available to join one of those, because I realized what I did last year was not much.
Is this for the Arbor Day celebration?
It is. Yes, ma'am.
So the person we need is a coordinator, a person who's gonna pull it all together. There's a name for that, right, Cheryl?
Coordinator?
Coordinator, event coordinator,
And potentially a location.
And who did it last year? Did you do ours?
Cheryl did it,
Cheryl.
and I did it, I guess we both did.
The pressure's on.
I think if we could do what we did in November, and I mean, we just talked about how education and awareness is vital for this community to share what's happening with our trees. And I know we just did it in November, but we're not gonna do it in November of 24. So I think April, it makes sense. Yes, we're crunching for time now, but we already have a foundation of what we did. Why don't we
A
get-
network of vendors, I mean, I think our vendors last year were amazing,
Yeah.
natural gardeners and master naturalists.
Yeah.
They had great presentations,
Mhm.
we had
They seem
donations
eager to
from
get
tree
involved.
folk.
But you said you didn't get that much of a response to it,
What do you mean?
to the event.
In November, correct, so I think if we can move it to a spring event, I know Spooktacular was a big draw, and unfortunately that was canceled, but, I think we need to just bring awareness, and I think if we can get Carl Lucky back and do another spring walk, like the trees will be back and alive, and I don't think we're gonna be looking at what looks like maybe a dead or diseased tree because it's November.
Defoliating season.
And again, we would not be following up Spooktacular and asking the community to come out for 2 of our biggest events as a city back to back. Which I think was the main motivation of voting and moving it to April. But
So,
And, go
I don't like that Iris is not available, so I would,
ahead. Yeah,
like, is there a date that would work that we can?
Or April 15th.
We just looked at the calendar and looked at what Arbor Day was nationally,
Yeah,
and
it's
it was close to Saturday.
well, I mean, you've already planned it for that day, I think,
I think,
Yeah, the 20th.
I think you should, and you voted on it. I don't think you should do it around my schedule.
Can we plant the, tree that day?
I believe so, yeah, I think we'd be within.
Where you
Yeah.
have to make sure, will you come make sure it's still alive?
Oh, yeah, I'll come check it out.
So, do we
Maybe
need to
replace
Wrapped
it.
up pretty good.
Oh, it's wrapped up?
Well, basically, I
Okay.
covered it over with just a
Oh.
blanket, a thin blanket.
Is it still by the,
It's in that little side yard.
okay, cool.
Who wants to coordinate this?
The Arbor Day then.
I mean, I will I mean, I will do it. I put everything that we collected as far as contacts and vendors into a spreadsheet. We have a timeline, like, we have a lot of things that are already in place that we just need to revise for an April date. So I can't do everything, obviously, so if everybody is willing to step up and take,
I was gonna say, I can't take it on as saying, I will do, I did that my entire life and I'm no longer capable of doing that. I'm just not. But I'm happy to help and do whatever. If you assign something to me, I'll get it.
okay,
I'll be there for the.
Same here.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're pretty organized based on what we did last year, so I feel like now it's just like, okay, who wants
Yeah,
to
we
take
have
care
enough.
of vendors, who wants to take? And I think we really rallied in November, we all came to the table with something, literally tables. And made it happen, and I think it was great. I think everybody thought we would love more traffic, we'd love more foot traffic here. But I think doing these annual events, I mean, that was our second one, but the first one was a joint party with the city for National Night Out, and it was at CYJ. So I'm willing to take the lead if everybody is willing to step up and take on.
Absolutely.
Tell me what to do.
I'll be on whichever committee I need to be. I'm glad you mentioned CYJ,
Yeah.
because I was gonna bring up locations, and we need to do it at the Triangle again. Of course, we need to still plant trees, from November. Potentially, could we use CYJ, check their availability? And aside from that, I was gonna say the new park, they have a green space behind there. And, is it Augusta, the playground?
On the playground.
The playground. I was thinking the playground, the green space behind it.
I thought about right there.
Oh, yeah, I don't think there's room. They're putting in another court or something.
I don't know, I think the exposure we got at the Triangle, just by people driving by that didn't necessarily know what was happening.
Right.
I think it's good exposure, I think we had our banners up, people obviously saw what was happening.
Huge signage,
Yeah.
the signage was awesome.
Yeah, we had great visibility, we weren't touch, I love CYJ and I absolutely would love to do anything we can there, but I think having it out in the open and exposed.
Okay.
I would vote for the Triangle again.
Yeah,
Is
and now.
that something we need to make a motion on?
Because, yes.
I said I would vote on it, but I.
Oh.
Or we're just in
We need a
discussion right now.
Yeah.
We're just in
We're just
discussion.
discussing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I didn't literally want to vote on that.
Oh.
It
The
would
triangle
not.
was great, like you said.
I like-
It has the gazebo and the table and chairs and,
Is it reasonable, excuse me, is it reasonable to plant last year's tree for this year?
I think we
should
get
get
it up
another
before,
tree.
and yeah,
Okay, so then we'll come back to the desert willow that needs to be planted, it's on the agenda.
okay, good.
And I also think barbecue would be great. And for that,
I
simple,
won't ask him to do it gratis, though.
no,
We paid for tacos.
the board did not pay for it, people, they were vending, and then they.
Yeah, they were just the vendors.
Donation to the board.
well, so I thought you said you would ask them to sponsor.
This was under different circumstances,
For the fun run.
For a fund.
because it wasn't my way.
Got it.
So next year at the fun run, we'll barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
Was it?
Well, I think we should stop this discussion for tonight.
Yeah.
And we can, last year, we talked about it for 5 months, I think, 4 or 5 months, organizing it before we had the event. So when you talk about how easy it's gonna be, I just wanna,
It's not,
it's
I'm
not
that
easy. It's not easy. And then the actual setup was really hard. I mean, it was hard.
Oh,
So.
well,
We didn't have Jacob.
I was gonna mention, another reason to have it in April would be the direct conflict that I had was I have kids that have soccer, and there was hundreds of other parents that were probably in the same situation.
Well, I think we're leaving it on April 24th.
I know, I wanted to mention, maybe we need to look into conflicts for this event, similar to that.
Carrie did mention that it's,
She
what's
did.
that weekend?
Art Fest.
Oh, okay,
We're in Warsaw.
Wimberley, okay, that's a big one.
It's big.
It's big. Is that when it's gonna be, on the 27th?
Would they be willing to donate some art?
Well, very individual.
Or you doing the house?
Little art and part.
There you go.
So please bring your ideas for next week, or next month, actually, and we can start flushing it out. Of course, that's March.
Well, if she's got it all on a spreadsheet, that's
already
gonna be
planned.
quite a bit easier to do.
It's mapped out.
Could we individually reach out to you about what we could do?
Yeah, or if anybody
For the
wants
rest of this year.
to offer up what they did not hate doing last year.
I can come up with a tree,
If you could take care of the tree donations again, that was great.
I'd like to do a lot more too.
Yeah, yes, I would too.
All right, so write down your ideas
And then reach out to me. That sounds good.
Okay,
and you
Well,
can
we'll
reach out,
be-
firm it up, 2 people only at a time. And then we can flush it out next time, which is March
11.
11th. And it's not unreasonable to call a special meeting, although I don't want to wear you all out.
Oh,
Okay, so number 9, developing a tree care and management plan for the city of Wood Creek.
I actually had to do research on that today, so I didn't get everybody the information, but I found a really good source. I believe I sent you an email, Iris.
When?
It was probably about 2:00 today.
Oh, okay. I
So
don't have my phone.
let's see, I can send this to everybody. I just want to make sure I do it the right way. And is that through a blind copy, blind CC?
You
Okay.
can CC one of us and then blind CC the rest.
Okay, so I'll send this out to everybody, but it is a several page document. Basically what a tree, urban, they call it the urban forest management plan would involve. And, I think it's a great place to start our, management plan. And we already have some of it knocked out. I believe there's 6 items total to have a developed management plan. We have an inventory, we have a software management plan or inventory. What we would need is an emergency storm, management plan, how we responded in a February 2022 situation. We have a board, an advisory council tree board. We have public relations and we have an education, outlet. And then we would need, an urban forest cost benefit analysis. And each one of these, items goes really far in depth, further on in this document. So that's what I came up with, and I'll email this to everybody later this evening.
Thank you.
Good.
That sounds good. Sounds complicated.
Was that Sunset Valley mentioned?
No, this, let me see if I can see the company. APWA. It's just an urban forestry organization. And in the email I mentioned, it would be a good template, so we don't have to follow it item for item, but we could pick and choose and add what we wanted.
So I did a little bit of research. And I found a great tree care plan, Texas State University.
Oh, yeah.
And what it said to me, basically, it has Arbor Day event in here. This I found online and it's from 2018. Do I need a key?
Call me when you're done, and, I'll come.
I didn't
back.
have a phone. Somebody has to call her.
You can have the phone.
I left it at home today.
I'll get you my number.
And, so I'm just I read this and what became really clear, because I also read this. This is our tree board handbook. We need your folder. Did you get it? The green one? She's here. We need to get it. And so there's, a plan in here for tree care management. It's very simple, very, very simple, but I thought it was manageable for what we've got. And not that this sounds really good too, but this tree care management plan has a survey. It has a section for removal, replacement, maintenance, risk assessment, annual, and health management. And what occurred to me is that this has definitions and step-by-step for what needs to happen with all these parts. Pass it around. I don't think we have time to look at it clearly.
Can you put this in an email?
I can try. I'll
Send a link to it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I didn't do that. I
What
just,
price is it on?
pardon?
That's a state one.
Yeah.
What occurred to me is that this breaks down what the priorities are. And it would be just like Jacob's had 6. This one has 5, I think. And it seemed like creating volunteer teams, getting supplies, scheduling the day. You know, if we're going to do work in the city for a tree that's ill or needs to be replaced. And I don't know if in the past, Kevin has said that his team would do it, right? I don't know how involved we're gonna be in all that. But I think that it would behoove us to break this down with 2 of us. And come up, we have to write up a plan, required of the tree board, to write a plan. It's required for, Tree City USA as well. So we need to have a written plan. And with a schedule. A lot of this stuff is done annually. So I think, like, the tree survey is annual.
Yeah.
Yes. So we didn't do it last year because of the storm. And then the heat. So I don't think we can skip it this year. So I'm willing to work with this. Any? Or is it Jacob? Do you want to run with it, with what you've got?
I think we should potentially, well, if you can email that one to everybody, we can just potentially use both of them, and they're probably very comparable, to begin with. I did a quick look over and,
It's good.
it's very similar to what I came up with here.
Yeah, I think they're all.
So they're all.
I looked at that one and then I actually did to try to find a city that is similar in size in Texas, that's also Tree City USA, so I cross-referenced the list of cities and their population to the Tree City USA list of cities. And Sunset Valley right here in Austin was actually one that I was really impressed with. Not only their tree management plan, but they have a oak wilt management plan, like for their residents. They have, a biannual chip day where they come out and will do it like twice a year. I thought that could be I had that listed as one of the goals, but when y'all started talking about tree board goals, that was not where we were going. But a biannual, either way, but I would.
Like a old brush chip,
Mm-hmm,
that'd be awesome.
yeah.
It would be
it would.
awesome.
That would be.
Yeah,
So my sense of all of this is that we need to do this quickly.
Mhm.
I mean, I almost don't want to do Arbor Day. I want to do this. People are starting to
When it comes to
call.
priorities, it is, I mean, I would agree that we do need to do something for our day,
I know, but I think we could do simple
yeah.
yeah.
and I
And
think that
short.
we could work with, start working with this. We got the call today, I don't have it with me, from a person who did not show up, but was asking the city what we were doing for Oakwold.
Mhm.
So I think we need to start having answers. We can say, well, we're trying to find an arborist, we're working with the
Not
map.
their problem.
Well, we have to,
Not their problem if you're talking about a resident calls. Well,
I was gonna say,
yes.
I mean, we do kind of have to focus on city property, but
Right, right.
we can have the educational material available to the public.
Right.
But to be able to say that we're working on the trees in public byways here is our business.
Well, I know that, but it's also what's going on with people's trees. We know about it more than they do, okay? So to me, it's
We
our
provide information.
job to provide the education to them, whatever education we have. And not just focus on what's going on city property.
We have.
For what we're, able to do, so if there's a city tree that has oak wilt, we could do something about it, but a private residence that has oak wilt, there's not much we can do.
No, just provide information.
Provide information, education.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we're on the same page, I hope we are.
You never know.
Me too, I hope so too.
Yeah,
So, can you send us the link for Sunsets?
that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
All right, and so then we can explore these more next time? Sure. Everybody can look at it and start coming up with a plan, we can break out to committees, okay? Está bien?
yeah.
We've got two big events coming up, this and Arbor Day.
I have a thought. Since, as we all just, I think, agreed that this is kind of a priority, what if we used our Arbor Day at, like, if we can get Carl Lucky on board with basically doing a small scale of November, but more of education? And maybe we could do it at CYJ where it's more of like a Oakville workshop, like come over to the CYJ meeting room. Carl Lucky's gonna do a presentation just like he did. That is one of the main draws for Arbor Day. That was what people were walking up and saying, I'm here for the presentation, right? When is that starting? I'll be back.
You talking about the separate event?
In lieu of what we did at the Triangle, like
Oh.
downscaling it and making it more of an educational, like workshop type day. Where we're still celebrating Arbor Day, but it's more of a small scale, but it's more education and
Yeah.
more of like a talk, like a workshop, like, hey, come. Maybe we could get some samples of the trees in real life, so people can actually see it. I'm a visual, I'm like, I wanna look at it, I wanna touch it. I wanna see the difference between healthy and dead and diseased. Whether it's on a poster board and up close and personal or branch, right? I know we already talked about it, Dave. Yeah.
We got
Photos,
confidence.
right?
CYJ was popular because there was food, free food,
And swimming.
And
and
swimming.
swimming,
God.
and petting zoo.
The only reason I say CYJ is because of their capabilities of doing AV. So if we're doing a presentation, like, the gazebo was great, but it was small, the
Crowd.
visuals it's hard to do for a day.
Food and forget the swimming and but this is an educational.
Well, I'm sorry.
Like a Saturday morning with coffee and donuts, and here's Carl Flockie talking about oak wilt and what we can do preventative, what you can do to mitigate, like more education than Arbor Day last year was fun. It was a community family friendly event, but like bring your kids if you want, there's a playground outside, or grab a coffee.
Offer a tree to CPJ
Mhm.
and no door prizes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No door prizes, is that what you said?
Mhm.
We could give away a tree, so it's a one lucky participant that shows up to come. I mean, our goal is to plant more trees, so
We're
if
gonna-
somebody comes
really-
and they wanna.
Okay, so we're back to Arbor Day.
Sorry, I know we already.
Let's move on here, okay? So number 10 is, we need a day to plant the desert willow at a Triangle Park.
I was gonna suggest the 27th, the day that we do the Arbor Day event, but now that potentially that's up in the air,
That's a
maybe we just need to nail down a day someone goes out there and sticks it in the ground.
That's what I think.
Okay,
Who's the someone?
oh, I'll do
Okay. Write that down.
it. You got
We
me.
all heard it.
Gosh, darn it.
It's being recorded.
What do you need, what do you
Tomorrow.
need to do it?
I have all the equipment to do it.
Do you want any announcement that you're doing it?
I think we should put something in the Wimberley View. You know, with the picture of the actual planting, like Teresa, when she came.
No, I think the whole board, and potentially I'm sorry, I interrupted you again.
Shame on you.
Damn.
That's okay, I forgot what I was saying, but go ahead.
Well, see, well, no, I guess someone mentioned the picture. We could do an entire tree board picture with the Tree City USA flag or plaque. To show us as a board doing this thing. We could all bring a shovel.
And when's this gonna be?
I can do it.
I mean, you could plant the tree anytime you can do it, and then we can plant it.
Yeah,
What'd you say?
I think that's a good
I mean,
idea.
he could go plant the tree whenever he can, and take a plant and photo off.
Yeah.
And we can all get there, like a ribbon cutting, if you will.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to.
Get the old shovels out.
Oh, right.
Yeah, yeah.
So do you have do you need any help?
Only if you want to. I mean,
It's emotional.
Okay, then I'll send you a text or call you whenever I'm
Okay,
figure out.
So
a day
we,
that I can do it.
oh, so we don't know when yet, right? When you're gonna do it.
No,
Okay.
I think that's just gonna be my first availability. I'll double check with, people at the city that it's okay and that they don't just see some rando digging a hole in the green space.
Yeah.
Thank
So we'll
you.
keep dragging about the triangle.
Just
Let's move
try,
on.
yeah.
Let's move on, this is fun, whatever.
Go
So Jacob is gonna let everybody know when he's gonna plant it, and we can come out, and we can take pictures, and we can put it on Facebook. We can put it wherever we want, the pictures of Jacob planting this tree.
I'd rather not have any pictures of me doing it. I mean, the pictures I would like to have is the entire board.
Okay, well, those pictures.
So it's not a single person show. Someone donated the tree, someone's storing the tree, someone's coordinating the tree. I
So
mean,
let us know when it's done, then we'll go take a.
I will.
Was it
Absolutely.
Urban Gardens that donated?
It's Roberta Gardens, yeah. And you kept it. You've been sitting, it's been asleep.
I've been worrying about
It's been, well, that doesn't count. It's- All right, so the last item is you discussed having software instruction on March 11th, is that right? Were you aware that that was also the next board meeting?
I believe everyone else was, and we scheduled that because the training is gonna take a very short amount of time, and I want the training to be fresh on everyone's mind. So we'll have the training on March 11th, and then we'll have the rest of March to accomplish the inventory.
The survey, we don't have a specific date for the survey yet.
So we'll break down into committees,
it.
that day, and, we have our sections already.
We need to change it. I think the board has changed. since we set it up.
Well,
The-
well,
the-
they did our
Committees.
The zones, the city zones have changed?
No, but we have
Okay,
as a group.
oh, yeah, and I mean, that can be discussed on the 11th.
So you need
I
a,
believe we all have smartphones, at least our neighbor does. And, the software is so easy to use, yeah, I don't think it'll take very long at all.
all right, and so you want to set a date for the actual survey?
To be completed by, I would say our April meeting, which would be the 8th.
So I'm having surgery, and I don't know how helpful I can be. I'm having two surgeries, one on March 18th and the other one is on April 1st.
You have a cataract?
Yeah, so I guess I
We
can
could-
help, I might be able to help, I just can't lift.
Yeah, there's no lifting involved other than the tape measure or,
You can borrow my walker.
Okay, so on March 11th, we'll do the training. And this will be an agenda item, we'll do the training, we'll bring our smartphones. And then we'll break out into zones again, and just identify which zone we're in, what we're going to do. I think I know where the tape measures are, I think they're in the shed. And then we'll complete it by April 8th.
yeah.
Okay, thank you, that's what we needed. Okay. So, let me see.
Is that conflict with anyone or,
Okay, so then, let's survey. So our next meeting is March 11th, 2024. So this meeting is adjourned at 7:26. Pardon?
It's a 4 minutes to spare. It's a 3-hour cap.
oh, really? 3 hours?
Good job, team.
Well, so can we talk about some of this?
No.
Being our 3-hour count?
It has to be recorded.
You want to stay longer?
Yeah.
If you want to, be sure you turn the lights off.
All right, so how do I
Yeah.
turn this off?
Oh.
Just push a button here?
Hey, Iris, do you need this document, about the January 8th minutes?
I love it.
No, I printed it off.
I don't remember. doing
Well, it was unsigned, now it's signed.
This is the sheet.
Yeah.
Oh. Yes, that has to be given to, Suzanne,
Okay.
as well as your, as long as your minutes and your motions. Here.
Okay, thank you.
So we need to figure out how to turn this off. Here we go. Stop video. Does anybody know how to use one of these, non-Apple machines?
All righty, gang.
Adios.
Bye, y'all.
See you in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
So see you later.
See you later. Thank you, Jacob.
Adios.